Good afternoon, guys. This is William with Patriot Containers. I wanted to make another video of how I got into the cargo container industry, what I stand for, what I'm against, and kind of where Patriot Containers started from. And it means a lot to me, probably not to a customer, but before I sold containers, I used to sit in cubicles and analyze credit card debt. And I was a warrior for my customers that would call the banks and the collection agencies and the law firms and the debt buyers. And I would beat the crap out of those people on the phone in order to save my customers as much money as possible. And there was no sales pitch to it. I would settle somebody's debt for pennies on the dollar and then tell my customer the truth about it. And I got paid based off of performance and how much of money that I saved my customers. And my job was to get that person out of credit card debt as soon as possible and as cheap as possible. And it was such a good job where I was in my 20s, I was making like $20,000 a month, sitting in a cubicle, helping people and doing the right thing for my customers. And I loved it. I absolutely loved that job for specific reasons. I lost the love for doing it because of certain employees and stuff that were like long story. Anyways, and I parted my ways, and at the time it was kind of like the dumbest thing I could have ever done because I never thought I would make that kind of money in my life again. And fast forward a few years, I started getting back into the job market, and every job I got didn't pay well, and you work your butt off and you hardly get any money. And then so I had a friend that came up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm selling cargo containers. Do you want to try it?" And I was like, "Well, do they pay well?" And he goes, "Yes, they do pay well." And I showed up, I think, for an interview the next day, and I'm a very competitive person. I don't like second place. If you put me in a room full of salespeople, as long as I'm working for somebody else, I'm a very good salesperson. I don't consider myself a good salesperson now because I'm a business owner, and whatever I say reflects back on my business. So I'm not like sales reps that you talk to on the phone when that work for other companies. They're sneaky thieves that don't care about their customers. I actually really do care about my customers. But back to getting into the container industry. I showed up for the first day, and I didn't sell a container for like 3 days, and I was like really upset about it. I was like, man, like I haven't made a sale yet, and it took me 3 days to make a sale. And all these other employees come up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, you already made a sale?" I was like, "Yeah, like it took forever." And they go, "Well, you've only been here for 3 days." And I go, "Well, how long did it take you to make your first sale?" And they go, "Like 2 or 3 weeks." I'm like, "Oh man, that made me feel a lot better." So about a week into it, I'm working in my cubicle selling cargo containers, and and excited about it. And I think everybody's excited for a new job. And there's a girl that sits about 10 feet away from me. She goes, and my back is to her. I'm working and she's working that way. She goes, "Oh my God, my paycheck bounced." And I'm like, "What? Your paycheck bounced?" And I was like, "Oh no, this is another crappy company." Like they're gonna work me to death and then not pay me my money. And so, like, literally 5 minutes later, my friend that got me the job and the managers come into the sales department and they send everybody home. Now, I'm telling you, I was only there for a week, okay? So as we're walking out, like literally escorted out, by the management. I go, hey, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And my buddy goes, hey, it's a good thing. I go, okay. He goes, we'll be back in touch. I'll call you. I go, okay, cool. So I go home and whatever. And about a week or 2 weeks later, I get a call. Same buddy. He goes, hey, management left. That owner has been ripping off shipping lines and drivers and all these people. And we left and we started a new company. And I think I showed up like the next day and they had me a cubicle, but no computer and no phone. And I go, what am I supposed to do here? Why am I here? There's no phone, there's no computer. He goes, well, you can use your cell phone or your own computer. I go, no, I'm out of here. Call me when you have a phone system here. I don't care if it's a cordless, if it's on a cord, whatever. I need a phone and a computer to do my job. Call me when it's done. And I think a day or two later, he calls me. So anyways, the number one salesperson from the old company was there too. Now this company just started. This is company number 2. This company just started. And you got a bunch, like 5 salespeople ready to get the ball rolling. And there was like this race, who could sell the most, and all the cocky people, I'm going to sell the first, I'm going to sell the first. And I just stayed quiet, kept my mouth shut. Boom, I made the first sale. And everybody that thought they were the best salesperson was just destroyed. I didn't take it that seriously as like they did. It was just a sale. You always got to get on the phone the first time to get that one phone call over with. So it's just better sailing on the way out. So my territory was Oakland only, which is basically Fresno to Oregon, okay? And then you got Long Beach, which is Fresno to Mexico, right? I was doing sales, and they were paying me $100 cash per sale. And I was selling about 70, I think the most I ever did, just out of Oakland, was 77 containers in a month. And we had a board, and pretty much I smoked everybody. Hey, you had reps in Texas, reps in, all these other states, and I was just smoking everybody every single month. As time went on, though, I had these customers calling me back saying, where's my container? It's been 2 or 3 months. I'm like, what? Like, was told to tell you 10 days, you know? And I'm not a liar. You can't pay me to lie to you. I just don't lie to people. So I was like, man, what's going on? And so as time went on, I was watching outside of my cubicle that this company had no idea of what they were doing, how to process an order, they knew how to sell, but they didn't know how to do anything else right. And it got worse and worse. So all these unhappy customers I was selling to, they weren't being taken care of after my sale, because I make a sale and the paperwork goes to somebody else. That's exactly how this industry is when you deal with salespeople. They sell something and then they're off the hook, and then the job is passed on to a different department, and it gets all screwed up from there. I've worked for these companies that in my other videos I'm warning you about. I know exactly how they operate. But as time went on, I mean, people were not getting their containers for 1, 2, 3, 4 months. They were purchasing horrible junk for my customers when I was selling them something nice, but it wasn't my business. I couldn't control the back end of the business. They hired this girl that comes in, and she's supposed to be a sales lady, but she's acting like little Hitler. And she's going to tell us, every morning we're going to do jumping jacks before we hop on the sales. And I used to call her Kirby because she used to sell Kirby vacuums. And I was already selling a lot of containers. I show up on time, I leave on time. I don't need the pressure of somebody else to tell me how to do my job, especially somebody that just got a job in 24 hours. And so I went up to the management and I said, "Hey, is this new girl our manager or something?" He goes, "No." I go, "Well, she's acting like it. Like you just hired her. You just hired her, and she's acting like my manager and telling me what to do. I'm fine. I don't need any help. Leave me alone." And I kind of always I've worked at other companies before. When you have a salesperson that you got to train, and once that train gets going, do not stop it. Let it go. Focus on somebody else's train that's broken down or derailed. Fix them. But when you got somebody that's smooth sailing, leave them alone. And a lot of times I like to get to the point to where I'm smooth sailing, everything's fine, making money, making sales. Leave me alone. It's what companies need. So as time goes on, though, I realized that everything that I'm telling people on the phone was a complete lie. I get into sales to know my customer, to have my customers trust me, to where I want repeat business. To you make a sale and you want your customers to call back. It's the most easiest transaction you could ever have. If you do a job right and you have repeat business, your customers they call back. If you do the job wrong, they don't call back. If the company is horrible, those people don't call back. And so if you're a salesperson that's a good moral salesperson working for a crappy company, you're not going to get repeat business, even though you're a good salesperson that's telling the truth and you want your customers to be happy, but the company you're working for is bad. So it sucks. It's just the way it is. So as time goes on, my sales start to go down and down and down and down. And I'm talking about, like, instead of 77 sales, like 1 month I only sold 7. And one of the managers comes up to me. He was a cool guy. And he goes, "William, man, what's wrong? How come you're not selling?" And I wanted to look up at him and say, "You guys suck and you're the worst company in the world and you don't do a good job, and I have no faith in what I'm selling anymore." I couldn't say that or I would have lost my job. The reason I left, though, the reason I walked out, this girl just was nonstop pressure that I just got sick of it. And I had a conversation with her and I was like, "Hey, look, like, I don't believe in what I'm selling anymore, and these companies suck." And blah blah blah. And what's funny is that girl actually started her own company too. But one day, I think I was festering, and I just stood up and I walked out. I walked out. In fact, I'm sorry. There's more to that. I had an interview with another company that was about a half an hour away, and he sold containers. He knew how many containers I was selling in a month, and he's like, "What? You're selling that many in a month just out of Oakland?" He goes, "I want you to work for me." So I was driving my car down the 101 freeway in Southern California. And I just said, why go do this again for another company that's just going to be the same? I know it. I know it. That's why I keep telling you guys, 90% of container companies are scum sucking leeches that are trying to rip off their customers. So I went home, called a buddy that did websites and marketing, and we started a business. I think in the first day, I made $700 on the first sale. And we were going. When I first started my business with a business partner, I had a motto, which was tell people the truth, deliver on the right day that the customer was told, and give the customer with what they ordered. If they ordered crappy, it's crappy. If they ordered okay, it's okay. If they ordered good used, it's good used. And if they ordered new, it's new. And we were starting a new business, and it was going decent. although I had a business partner that wasn't always on the same page with me, it's kind of like my recipe and he's trying to change it. And I know with what works and how to make money. So we weren't in the same circle. We weren't in the same circle at all. And so it was very hard to get a business started when you have two business partners that are not in the same circle. Anyways, so tell the truth, deliver on the right day, and show up with what the customer ordered. Now, there's a problem with that. Telling the truth is good. Delivering on the right day is good, but giving the customer with what they ordered could be a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. People that buy new containers, they're always happy. People that buy good used containers that know they're buying a good used container, they don't think they're buying a new one. They know they're buying a good used one. 1 out of 50, maybe 2 out of 50 people complain. You're selling something used. You can't satisfy everybody in this world. But the people that say, I don't care about how this container looks, I don't care about anything other than price, those people complain on a 90% level rate of that. I'm telling you, I've had stories where I'm trying to tell the person, do not buy this. And they're telling me, it's okay, I won't complain. I promise I don't care about how it looks as long as it doesn't leak. And then you purchase them a cheap container and you make sure it doesn't leak. And they call back and go, this thing's ugly, I don't want it. And I'm like, what? Anyways, and those types of customers, they've existed then, they exist now, and they will exist in the future. When somebody says they do not care about their container, I am so fearful about that. I really am, because I just don't believe them. I think they don't know with what they're asking for, and they will complain. So about 1.5 years, 2 years into this, actually 1.5 years, 2 years into this, I part my ways with my business partner because he had a spending problem. And then I got 2 other business partners and they had a working problem where I made all the money and they got half of it. And I just, even though I was a business owner, I felt like an employee, and I don't want to feel like an employee. If you're a business owner, you should have freedom to do with whatever you want. Anyways, so I started Patriot Containers, I think 8 or 9 years ago. And my motto is tell the truth, deliver on the right day, show up with a good product for your customers. Don't buy junk. Everything that I do for my customers is so far above what these other crappy companies are doing that they can't do with what I do, because they have salespeople, they have logistics departments, they have complaint departments, they have all these departments to where the actual love of the process of the customer, it can't be there. It just can't. That's why they run a complete shit show. They have salespeople that completely lie to their customers about everything. They have one person in their shipping department that can't, they have purchasers, all this stuff. So it's just one big shit show. That's why they can never run a good business that actually provides for their customers. They can sell, they can market, they can do stupid YouTube videos that are the cringiest crap I've ever seen in my life. But they can't run a good operation, and just a fact. But anyways, so I tell the truth to my customers. I don't sell junk to my customers. I have direct contact with my drivers. I can call them right there on the spot while you're on the phone and actually say, hey, I got a container coming from here to there. What day can you do it? And he or she is going to tell me what day they have on the schedule, and you either agree to that date or you don't. But I will not overpromise anything, and I purchase my own purchasing. I do my own sales. I don't believe in customer service. If I have everything covered and I'm fully transparent with my customer saying, hey, You're going to get a receipt. Hey, here's what day your container is going to arrive. Hey, I'll call you the day before. I'm providing a real service, so there's no customer service needed. And I see all these bad complaints or positive reviews on these companies that say, oh, they have the best customer service. Customer service, people don't call customer service for happiness. They call customer service for problems. So I find it funny when you got these customer service. If you do with what's right, you don't need a customer service. That being said, that's how I got into this industry, and I've watched it go from decent industry to dog shit, to be honest. And if you watched my previous videos, there's so many companies out there ripping you guys off, selling you junk, never delivering on the right day. They don't communicate, and they will keep your money because of the problems that they made. If they take 1 to 3 months to deliver and you cancel, they're going to charge you a cancellation fee. If they bring you out a shitty container that has insane amounts of rust, doors that don't work, maybe even holes, and trust me, you guys got to read complaints on these companies. That's what they deliver their customers. If they bring that out to you and you send it back, they will charge you a restocking fee, a cancellation fee. If you have not paid for your container and it's cash on delivery or it's payment on delivery, and I've read the complaints, people, they send you to collections now. Their warranties when I first started doing this, nobody said they had a warranty. It was just straight up sales. But you got all these scumbag leeches, companies that can't do anything right, trying to outbid each other for who can come up with the best lies and tricks to make a sale. So when I first started, nobody had warranties. All of a sudden, 12-month warranties, 36-month warranties, 5-year, 10-year, 25-year, lifetime warranties. I just don't know with what's next. But if you read all their complaints, they do not honor their warranties. Unless you consider JB Weld. Because if they send you a horrible container with holes all over it, and I'm telling you, I've seen pictures of what customers have uploaded to the internet of what they delivered, and I am amazed that these scumbags actually purchased the crappiest containers for their customers and then delivered that. The industry, because of these companies, is getting worse and worse and worse. That's why I'm making these YouTube videos. I wish I made these videos 10 years ago, to be honest. I really should have. I think I was camera shy and younger. I'm 47 now. But yeah, Patriot Containers was started because I've worked for companies that I'm warning you of. I know exactly how they operate. I know exactly with what they do, what they purchase. It's unfortunate for them because they know I'm right, and I'm so right that they actually sued me. That's why I'm not mentioning their company name anymore, but I can still talk about the industry because every bad container company out there, it does the exact same thing. Oversell, underdeliver, never accountable. Thanks for your money. We don't care about you. And that's the opposite of what I am. I want to tell you the truth. I want to help you, and I want to do the right thing and provide a real service for my customers and do the exact opposite. That's why Patriot Containers was started. I stand 100% against these scumbags that I'm warning you about, and I will never go away. I'm going to continue making videos exposing these idiots. I've also been thinking, I've studied these companies for a long time, but these companies actually are evolving. They're evolving with their tricks. It used to be who had the longest warranty. Well, you're at lifetime warranties now, and they don't honor their warranties unless you consider JB Weld in the mail a warranty. I do not. I think that's a slap in the face. I think you shouldn't have sold the container. that was crappy. That's my opinion. You should have sold your customer a nice container, a good used one, instead of the lowest grade junk. But now that we're up to like lifetime warranties, which I'm telling you, I don't even like saying that because it's not true. Now what's the new trick? Well, cash on delivery. But we don't take cash on delivery. Well, what's the new trick after that? Okay, well, we'll do payment on delivery. Well, you have to put a credit card on file, or do you have to? So if you don't pay for the container, they send you to collections. And then now is the newest one is if you don't like your container in 30, 60, 90 days, you could return it and get 100% of your money back. That's a complete lie. That's a lie. You will not get 100% of your money back. You will get minus the delivery and then minus the pickup. So you're gonna lose whatever your delivery price was. You're gonna lose that twice if they have to come get that container. So you don't get your money back. And it's just Patriot Containers exist for helping people and making customers happy. And I it's hard to say that because it's the truth. But yeah, these scumbag companies, I think they are scum. Anyways, that's it. That's the story of Patriot Containers, and it's how I got into this industry. And it's just this industry is getting worse and worse and worse, and that's why I'm making more and more videos, because I'm studying these companies, I'm studying their complaints, I'm reading with what their customers are saying, and the shenanigans are evolving, and they're trying to. Who can lie to you the most is the one that's going to make the sale. And it's unfortunate for you guys. It's unfortunate for you guys as customers because you have no clue of what you're up against and what these companies are doing. So anyways, guys, that's it. Happy Saturday, July 19th. Have a good one. Bye.